I'm Jessie Heredia, and you're listening to Mom Empowered, where I help moms ditch their anger, break free from anxiety, and create the life they've always wanted. This show is for the mom who's ready to become more free and empowered. Today, I want to talk about the difference between thinking about the kind of mom you want to be and thinking like the kind of mom you want to be. And I'm saying that because I know that we all have ideas in our head of who we want to be. We all have goals. You know, for some of us, we want to be really disciplined, we want to be present, we want to be super engaged. Some of us as moms, we would just love to be less angry. We would love to just be more calm disciplinarians. These are things that we are working toward, that we have our mindset on. And like I said, I want to talk about how sometimes we can get so caught up in thinking about that mom, thinking about this future version of ourselves, thinking about all the things that we would need to do differently, that we can get so caught up in that we end up losing sight of what actually it takes to become that mom. And what I mean by that is going from thinking about being that kind of mom to thinking like that kind of mom. Okay, I want you to keep in mind that all the behaviors that you notice in your life, whether that is maybe you're lashing out at your kids, maybe you are having a hard time staying engaged, maybe you just feel very negative around them, maybe not even just in your relationship with your kids, but maybe you notice with your partner that you are more irritable, or maybe you are kind of checked out, or there are a lot of arguments, there's some disconnect there. I want you to pay attention to how all of these behaviors, they don't just happen. Yes, they might be patterns, but the patterns of these behaviors really always come from what's going on in your mind. Our behaviors and even our emotions come from what's going on up here, whether that is what you're believing, what you're thinking, the stories you're telling yourself, just the thought patterns that you are continually practicing. So trying to change your behavior, like some of these behaviors I just described, trying to change those without actually changing what's going on up here, your thought processes, your beliefs, the stories you're telling yourself, the stories you're believing. If you are trying to change your behavior without changing those, oftentimes it doesn't work. It doesn't work. And I want to help you get past that hurdle of just trying to fix the behavior and really help you get into the nitty-gritty of managing your mind better. When I coach moms, it always starts with me teaching them how to manage their mind. If they want to learn how to manage their time, then you can bet that we're going to start with managing your mind. Because trying to be more organized, trying to be more disciplined, trying to stop procrastinating, like those are all fine and dandy to work toward. Of course, work toward those if that's what you want. But don't think for 1 second that you will just automatically break those habits or automatically build new habits without there also being some work going on in your mind, without doing some replacing of some thought patterns here, without doing that inner thought work and that mindset work that helps create those new patterns and those new behaviors that you're going after. And the same is true for if you're trying to work on changing your communication with your partner. You're definitely going to want to work on your thoughts about your partner. What are you telling yourself about your partner? If you want to work on your business, then if you have goals that you're going toward, whether in your business or maybe just personal goals or professional goals, you're going to want to work on what are you believing about yourself or about your business or about your goals. What are you telling yourself? What thoughts are you giving power to? Because the two are so closely interconnected. New patterns, new behaviors, new habits don't just get developed overnight. There's a process that has to take place. It doesn't have to be a long process, but there are things that have to take place in your mind first to allow you to make those shifts. So again, it's not enough to just think about the woman you want to be, the kind of mom you want to be. You also want to think like the mom that you want to be, that mom that you're working towards. I want you to think about it from the viewpoint of a method actor. I was really trying to rack my brain for like a good way to really explain this. So I thought, I want you to think about it as though you're a method actor. Okay, when you're a method actor, you have an idea of the character you're supposed to be. You have a script in front of you, okay, of all the lines, how this character is going to speak, how this character is going to act. And a method actor's job and what they work toward is getting so into this character's head that speaking and acting and behaving like this character becomes second nature for them. It becomes more and more natural for them every day. And so, in the same way, I want you to think about it like this. I don't just want you to read the lines. Okay, you don't just want to read the lines. You don't just want to see, okay, like these are the behaviors that I'm supposed to do. These are this is how I'm supposed to feel. This is what I'm supposed to say. This is how I'm supposed to change. You don't just want to read those. You want to actually study those. You don't just want to read the lines. You want to actually study the lines. You want to go deeper than the lines. What is this character? If you're an actor, what is this character thinking and feeling? What are they thinking and feeling? What are their motivations? Why are they actually behaving in this way? What are their intentions? What's going on beneath the surface? In the same way, like those are the questions that we need to be asking here. You might know exactly who it is you want to be, exactly what it is that you want to do and what you want to change about yourself and all the ways that you want to show up differently in your life. But are you spending time really diving into what would have to be going on in your mind, what you'd have to be thinking and feeling and experiencing and believing in order for you to be that person? Okay, I really want you to think about this. You can pretend to be a different version of yourself. And I know that we've all done this. We've all tried this. I've definitely tried this time and time again, where I have, written out in my journal, I'm thinking about like years ago and like our early years of marriage, writing down my journal, starting today, I am going to always be so loving and patient with Grant. Grant's my husband. Starting today, I am done arguing. I am done fighting. I'm going to let this go. Like I remember like writing out those promises to myself, or starting this week, I am going to be so engaged with my kids. I'm going to have so much fun with them. I'm going to wake up with a good mood and a bright attitude. Like we've all been there, right? Where we make these definitive goals for ourselves, these definitive promises, commitments of I'm going to be more like this person. I'm going to be more like this different version of myself. I'm going to behave differently. I'm going to feel differently. But what I want to say about that is oftentimes this is just us pretending. This is just us pretending because there needs to be actual, true, real transformation happening here in order for us to maintain those new behaviors. In order for us to maintain these new attitudes, these new habits, and take these new actions. So I want you to think like in the past, if you have tried or pretended or have wanted to fake your way into changing, whether it's changing as a wife or changing as a mom or changing as a friend or as a worker, as an employee, like I want you to think about like how long did it take before you went right back to where you started? How long were you able to keep that up? Was it a week? Was it a day? Was it 6 hours? I know oftentimes for me it was literally less than a day. It was less than a day because there are always thoughts and emotions and deep rooted beliefs. There are these thought patterns that have to be dealt with in order for actual change to take root and to last. And I am so certain that you guys know what I'm talking about. You've tried to become a character without actually going through the process of becoming the character. You have tried reading the lines of a script without having an actual proper understanding of why those lines are written in the first place, what's actually going in the mind of this person who is reading these lines, and why they have full belief in them. Okay? So I'm going to break this down with one more example. Let's say that you have a goal of being a more patient mom. And so you're telling yourself, I'm going to feel more patient, I'm going to have more patience, I'm going to be more patient. Like, this is my goal. This is what I'm going to do. I've decided I'm going to be patient. I just want you to think about how making these decisions of I'm going to feel more patient, I'm going to be more patient, are actually nowhere near as productive or fruitful as you beginning to actually practice and adopt the thoughts and beliefs of a mom who actually is already patient. Okay, think about this. A mom who has patience usually isn't just naturally patient, she has patience, she feels patience toward her kids or toward her partner because of what she is telling herself about them, because of what she believes about them. She feels patience toward her kids when they're acting out because she has a deep belief that maybe that her kids are safe, they're acting totally appropriately for their age. Maybe because she knows that this behavior is not a personal attack toward her. She's disattached from it in a way. That's where her patience comes from. It doesn't come from just her having this crazy amount of patience just drop into her. It comes from what she's telling herself that is developing more patience toward her kids or toward whoever. You know, if a mom feels patience toward her partner when he forgets to do the dishes again and again and again, it's because most likely that she has a different deep belief than you might have. You know, maybe she has this deep belief in her core of he wants to please me. And so him forgetting like to do the dishes or doing whatever, she's able to disattach from that and have more patience toward that because she knows this has less to do with me than it has to do with him. Like she gets it. He's maybe she realizes, well, he's forgetful because he's never learned the discipline of remembering. Like that's the story that she has replaying, not he doesn't care about me, he doesn't love me. See, I knew that he's a terrible person. He's never going to change. Like, these are the thoughts that we are so good at thinking subconsciously. And these are what are truly running the show here. So I just want to keep in mind, like, if you have a goal of being more patient, feeling more patient, your ability to actually show and feel that patience and develop that patience will always come from what you're telling yourself and what you're believing about the things you're trying to be patient toward. Okay, so I want you to just think about how your thoughts can change things. Do you see how you could feel differently? You could feel more patience, you could feel more compassion, you could even feel more indifference simply by assigning a different meaning to what's happening. Whatever traits that you hope to have in the future, whether that's more motivation or more love or more confidence, more joy, etc., I want you to know that these do not just happen to you. These do not just somehow get bestowed upon you. They are developed in you over time as a result of what's going on in your mind. So, all of that being said, again, I want you to spend time in the mind of the mom you are wanting to become. It is not just enough to think about her. You want to start to think like her. This is how you become her. So, here's some questions to ask yourself. Here's how we're going to wrap up. I want you to ask yourself a few questions. The first is, who is it that I want to become? Okay, what does she do? What does she do differently? How does she show up in her life differently? How does she feel differently? And I want you to get as specific as possible. If she's in a relationship, you want to get specific about how she shows up in that relationship. How does she feel about her relationship? If she works, you want to get specific about that too. How does she prioritize her work? How much time does she spend on her work? How successful is she from her work? And then, of course, the same goes for motherhood. How does this future version show up as a mom for her kids? What does she do differently with her kids? What does she feel differently about her kids? And you'll want to list out as many as you can. You'll want to get as specific as possible. You might even need a few different pieces of paper, and that's okay. Do not hold anything back. Okay, you can even get as specific as what time does she go to bed at night? What time does she wake up? How does she dress? How does she handle her self-care? How she view her body? What does she do when she's on her period? Like all of these are questions worth exploring, okay? So that's question number 1. What does this person I want to become, what does she do? Well, who is she like? What is she like? And then the second question, and this is so crucial, it is not enough to just answer question number 1. You have to answer question number 2. And question number 2 is, what would this version of myself need to be thinking and believing in order to be doing and feeling these things? What would she need to be thinking and believing that is different from what I'm currently thinking and believing? What is it that she would have to be telling herself in order for her to show up in this way for herself? What does she have going on in her mind? Like, what does she have going on? What is she thinking that I'm not? Okay, these are questions that you'll want to answer, and I want you to like use your answers from question number 1 as your reference for answering question number 2, because again, all of our behaviors and how we show up, how we act, how we respond to situations, these all come from what we are thinking, either consciously or subconsciously. And so it is of the utmost importance when you are imagining who you want to become that you investigate those thoughts, that you actually explore what is taking place in the mind of that person. Okay, that's where the real work happens. These are the thoughts you want to work toward having in order to become that different person, or to become that different kind of mom, that different kind of partner, that different version of yourself that you know deep down that you long to become and that you were meant to be. You will want to work on practicing these new thoughts, and you will want to work on believing them. Okay, so I know that this is a bit of a heavy topic, and as always, I just want to remind you that it's okay to take your time. It's okay that you will need lots and lots of practice with this. You might even need to re listen to this, to take some notes, to get a deeper understanding again, to kind of go back over these concepts. As always, I also want to remind you that I have spots open in my Mom Empowered coaching program, and these are the things that we can work on together. We can help you become the kind of mom you want to be, whether that's a healthier mom, a more joy-filled mom, a more empowered mom, a mom who isn't angry but rather responds with calm and confidence, a mom who doesn't have anxiety but feels health and wellness. Whatever your goals are, whoever it is you want to become, our work together will be to get you to that place by teaching you how to manage your mind, how to manage your emotions, and then from there, how to change those behaviors and build new habits and to actually become that woman. Okay, so if you have interest in working with me, now is the time to reach out. You can learn more by going to jessieheredia.com/coaching. You can apply for a free empowerment call. We will talk about your goals. I will show you what it looks like to bridge that gap between where you are now and where you want to be 6 months from now. And then we'll talk about whether or not Mom Empowered is the right fit for you. Okay, with all that being said, I am rooting for you guys. I am so excited about the moms that you are becoming, those more healthy, empowered, joy-filled moms that I know you were created to be. I love you, ladies, and we will chat again next week.